Should we just jump right in?
Just jump right in.
Let's just jump right into it.
Jump into
All right.
it.
What's up, YouTube?
Are you rolling, Christian? Oh, hey, we're live. What's up, everybody?
Hey, we are
went
live now.
Yeah, Wren went to Texas to sit in Jake's office to record the podcast.
It looks
I'm here, sitting remotely in Jake's office. You can't tell the difference right now. No, in truth, I'm sitting at home right now because I still have COVID. Kind of. I'm at like the very tail end of it. Very tail end of it. I don't feel any symptoms anymore right now. Had a rough morning, but now I'm feeling all right.
Yeah, we have your cardboard effigy in there.
Oh my God.
Pat its head every once in a while.
I love that thing just because of how different it looks depending on how you rotate it.
Yeah. Here, I'll just wear it for the...
There you go. It's like you're here,
cool.
right?
It lines up
It's
with
so
the camera.
scary
You
when you
know,
point it
that's
right at the camera because it looks like it just kind of disappears. And
You see my eyes through
my
it?
face. From my camera, I see these little white dots of eyes, but I think it's just reflecting off of the cardboard a little.
Actually, you should be able to see my eyes through it if I do this right. This is probably not the best thing for a podcast, which is an audio only thing, but like...
You're going to shine your light through it?
Light through it.
Well,
right.
hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning into the CorridorCast. I have been out for the last couple weeks, if we wanted to catch up on any of that, and now I'm back in the studio.
Are you?
I'm in Jake's office. We've already established.
Yeah. So you've had COVID for the last 2 weeks?
No, just the last 1 week, which I got from Jan spending 2 days in the truck with Jan, driving back from Burning Man after getting stranded at Burning Man for an additional couple days. It was a great time.
We're debating whether or not people actually want to hear Burning Man stories.
I know. All I'll say on the matter is that I think everyone should try it at some point in their lives. It's a crazy experience. It was my first time, and there's no other way to describe it. You have to kind of experience it.
Did you burn the man?
No, it rained too much.
There's no Burning Man?
Some Burning Man.
It was burned after I left.
Sloppy, wet,
What is this?
soaked man.
Wedding Man.
Wedding man.
Yeah, no, it because it poured rain. It was an awesome first 4 days of the trip, but then on Friday it started raining, and then it didn't stop raining. We got 3 months of rain in less than a day, and so it's a dry lake bed, so the entire place just flooded half an inch or more on the first day. So there's mud everywhere, and it's not mud, it's clay. It's this fine clay that just sticks to everything. And so you'd be walking around with 5 pounds of mud on each of your feet. And so my knees were super sore after a few days of that, and I couldn't figure out why until I realized I've basically been walking around with ankle weights. But yeah, so that was wild. That was an experience. Not nearly as bad as the media made it seem to be, but I got out in one piece. It wasn't too bad, too big of a deal. But Jan was starting to feel sick on the last day. And then I spent 2 days in the car with him trying to get out of there.
I'm sure a lot of people got it there. It was probably going around.
I mean, probably, yeah. Although, I mean, it's hard to say because it is mostly outdoors. It's an outdoors thing. I slept in a tent for the week. So camping and being outside is one of the safest places from COVID.
That is true.
But somehow I got it. So maybe I know nothing.
All week and I guess he could have had it all week and not been symptomatic, but I mean, he must have gotten it there.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, this is the first time I've had COVID. So, I mean, I may have had it and just never known it, but every time I've tested for it in the past, it's always come up negative.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Well, you're not back in the office yet, so I can't say I'm glad you're back because you're not back yet.
Alive is the word.
I'm glad you're alive. Yeah. I'm glad you're not still muddy, I guess.
Yeah. I was so worried about you getting muddy. CNN told me that the hippies were muddy. It made me angry.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I've just been completely out of the bubble of Corridor for the last couple weeks. And I'm curious how you guys are doing. Griffin, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, dude. I'm, well hydrated. My macros are looking good. Things have been going smooth for me around here, and also been venturing into some exciting art and music territory outside of work. So last couple of weeks have been really nice. How you guys doing?
Good. You can't mention this new art and music territory without delving a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I want to know more.
Oh, well, I did a little portrait, a little digital painting portrait,
Okay.
and
really?
I'm doing some preliminary work to dip my feet into making clothing, making like attire and merchandise, just like a
cool.
fun little thing. And then on a whim, I started making EDM again for the first time in like 12 years. I started making like drum and bass and house music.
Oh,
so
cool.
I think I saw you post something about that. I'm very curious.
yeah,
Like,
dude,
what does that entail for you? Like, do you have like a mixing board?
I have a very, very limited setup at home that's mostly digital. I have studio monitors. I have like a 2-octave MIDI keyboard, and then just like a bunch of VSTs, digital like plugins and stuff. And I check all my mixes in the car and on my TV, as you do. But there may or may not be a small EP coming out later this year or next year. I have no idea. But
Really?
it's been fun getting into it. So
Hell yeah!
Sweet.
All right.
I think the theme of this podcast is going to be everyone's hobby art projects. That's cool.
Heck yeah. What's your artist name, Griffin? Do you have one yet?
No, I've been like thinking about it. Like there's a couple. There's one that I might want to do for my like goth post-punk project. That's
Okay.
like, and then, but I was also thinking about like Griffin Thorne is like why waste that name? by
Yeah, it's a pretty
having
solid
Pretty good
name,
name.
right?
It's
Like,
a pretty good name.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah. Griffin, if you hadn't gotten into the realm of like, art and digital art and graphic art and all that kind of stuff, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I would like professionally.
Yeah.
I would 100% be like a ski bum. I would be just like
Good answer.
like working, being like a lift operator, just like living at the mountain and just snowboarding all day, every day. That's absolutely what I would have done.
Huh,
Also
all
making drum and bass on the side.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That sounds pretty great, Griffin. I would love to go snowboarding with you. I would love that so much.
Oh, dude, let's do. I'm getting back into it this season. I really
wanna
really
join
wanna
you.
go.
Dude,
Let's do it, dude.
we should go up together. I'm super down. 100% down.
Deal. You got a
Have you
deal,
ever
man.
snowboarded, Niko?
I've been wanting to get
I've
back into snowboarding for so long.
I snowboarded for like half an hour once. I decided I'd rather go back to skiing and
Yeah,
enjoy the rest
it's
of the mountain.
intense, man. I was like, last winter, I was all gung ho about it for the first time. I'm like, I can one wheel now, so I can snowboard now. And
It's
holy
not the
moly,
same
you
thing.
guys- yeah, it is not the same thing. It's like really scary learning how to switch sides as you're going down.
Yeah.
Because you just have to kind of fling yourself and like get the like you're like, all right, I'm just gonna turn into it now. And you just hope momentum, is there on your side. But
Yeah.
dude, my legs have never been as tired ever skiing as
Oh,
they
the
were when I
soarboard.
was. Yeah, the soarboard. Seriously, it was like that was the worst.
Because you're
part.
constantly having to
Not
like sit
falling.
down, get back up, sit. You're just doing like hundreds of squats a day.
Yeah, and just like I don't know, with skiing, I feel like since you're straight, you don't have to use as many muscles to stay. Like you obviously have to use your legs as like springs and like, absorb your shock. But with snowboarding, there's a whole other element of like, don't fall into the mountain or away from the mountain that I
Mhm.
think adds to the just exhaustion. So I want to try it again though.
It was definitely easier for me
it
to
was
learn
very fun.
skiing. Like I can ski,
Oh,
and it's easier to learn
That's-
skiing. But I feel like once you get through that initial hump of learning how to snowboard, like once you can actually finally do a turn, it all just like opens up.
totally.
And then it becomes exactly like one wheeling.
Yeah, I like kind of hit that at the end by like my last run. I was like too tired to go on, but I'm like, okay, I can like, if I were to come back tomorrow or like in a week once I recover,
Yeah.
I'd have a great time.
Yeah.
And then 2
Yeah,
years
there's-
later, cut to.
Although the biggest difference between snowboarding and one wheeling is the fact that a snowboard can go sideways. It slides, which like we tested that one electric skateboard several years back that had like the caster wheels on the bottom of it that was also motorized. It could like skate back and forth like a
Mhm.
snowboard.
What a weird little.
I still have it. I keep thinking about trying to learn how to ride it again. It was hard. It was very hard.
Yeah. Nick, do you have any like side art projects you've been working on outside of making a movie?
Side art projects.
Ignoring
I
the
mean,
movie.
mostly just the movie, man.
You got any side art projects? Yeah, feature length movie.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
no
that's
big deal.
been my side thing.
What about
But-
what about this little channel you talked about?
Oh man, well, yeah. So okay,
Wait, can I guess what the name is?
yeah. Guess.
Nickismatic.
That's good. I like that.
With a P though at the beginning.
Yeah. Numismatic, the numismat. No, it's called History at Home.
Oh, so it's not numismatic.
Right now I only do coin videos, but maybe we'll expand that someday.
History at Home.
History at Home.
That's cool.
It's just I'm here at home. We're doing history, talking history.
When did you start this channel?
I started it like probably just about 2 years ago, and I've made about 5 or 6 videos only, but they're long videos, dude. It's like cleaning a coin is a long video, so it takes me forever to edit it. It's like, I haven't had a lot of time to put into it, so it's like if I have an extra hour like once a week, I'll like just cut it up. But it's fun, man. I get to show people a satisfying process, and that makes great YouTube content.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an audience for it. Whatever you're cleaning on YouTube, people want to watch that. Like, dude, you can make anything clean on YouTube and it'll be like worth.
So you starting to get a little audience. There's people that are watching your videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's like enough. I think I have like 5,000 subscribers, but it's
wow,
like all
that's
natty.
actually
It's like natty. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's like a slow trickle, like couple, like there's views, but it's not like a business or anything. But
sure,
I feel like it's more just for me to be able to like put these little projects out and have them live somewhere and be able to just gush to people about the history. And if they want to watch it, they can. It's there. So yeah.
I've been really curious what it's like to try to start a YouTube channel these days.
Okay.
Because like this is something I've been thinking about talking about on the podcast, and like because we obviously have not had to start a YouTube channel in a long time. But when we started YouTube, like we could rely on like visual effects and like digital cinema being a hard thing to do, so there weren't a lot of people doing it. You could use that to stand out. Yeah. And I feel like you need to stand out in some way for people to like notice you. And unless you're like stunningly gorgeous or incredibly charismatic, like you gotta have some sort of weird idea or unique thing. But like, I wonder like if we were to start a YouTube channel today, like could we make it? Like would it grow as fast as it did back then at the same speed? Would it be harder? Would it be easier? But you got a YouTube channel that you started.
Well, like, you just need that little like, I think. Yeah, you can't just like expect to make a YouTube channel about like you, right? Unless you are charismatic or good looking, or both is better. But if you have like something like cleaning an ancient coin, for instance, it's a kind of unique thing. It's a somewhat simple task, but not many people are up to it, right? And there's also something like there's like a story there. It's like history being uncovered. Like, what can this tell me? So
you just got to have something compelling to watch. It's like,
yes, exactly.
There's a lot of people out there, so it doesn't have to be super broad. A super niche thing can still have a lot of people to watch it because it's still compelling for those people.
Yeah. And it's been really fun, like kind of not worrying about like all the rules and kind of processes we go through here as part of our job and part of our.
Is it a little cathartic in that way? I don't have to try to
I can do whatever I want, but at the same time. Yeah, it's like I want to, keep that consistency and the kind of content, and like also having the knowledge of the rules to break them, after is good. So it's like, like you want to have a little bit of consistency. I've definitely applied a lot of the thumbnail principles that we like to practice here. So yeah, it's been fun. But I haven't. Gosh, I need to edit.
You're like, I don't have to cut this for time.
I have one, dude.
The pacing is fine.
This awesome Egyptian coin. And it's beautiful, and I just got to put it up. I just got to edit it. It's gonna take like 5 hours to edit or more. So someday, yeah.
Griffin, how do you like discover new YouTube channels? Like, what do you think it'd be like trying to start? What advice would you have as somebody who deals with one of the most crucial aspects of making videos, which is like the actual thumbnail and title of them?
Oh man, I find that the channels I end up gravitating toward are often like it's not necessarily having a gimmick or being super original, but it's people who can add something new to a conversation. Like I'll find a cooking channel, maybe like just making something up, a cooking channel where they aren't like cooking crazy stuff, but they have like one unique thing they add to it. Like this is not a niche channel, but like tasting history. That channel is great because it's like, it's a cooking show and the host is charismatic, but if it was just those two things, I probably wouldn't stick around. But he has that other thing that he can bring to the table that no one else is,
Yeah.
which is the historical aspect. And I think if you can like bring something new, like if you want to start a cooking channel or a music channel, that's great. And if you want to stand out, figure out what you uniquely as a person can bring to that sphere, and then make sure when you're marketing it, you do the best to get that across, which is a tall order. But I think from what I can see, that's what attracts me the most to new channels.
That's like almost universal. Like that's like a rule you could really like. There's like pillars. It's like one is having some authority on a subject you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some professional experience. The other is charisma, being able to be on camera and like being comfortable with that, having it translate like that, and then consistency. I think, and just like making stuff that people know there's going to be content there to watch. And like you're not jumping around too much. Like that's all you need to make a really good YouTube channel that has everything it needs to succeed, I think.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean it's like you see even on TikTok, it's like people watch like experts on little green screens, you know, down the corner, just like watching shit. And like they don't even really add much. They just like, hey, like check out this thing that anyone can read on Wikipedia. Well, yep, here you go. Like here's a map and I'm pointing. It's like people want the expert though to tell them that expert.
Yeah. So, what's worse than that are the ones where it's just like it's a side by side like stitch, and it's just a person going,
"Oh my gosh!"
and they're just like making faces and reacting to the content without literally saying a word at all. It's just it's like, why is this even here?
I don't know. It just adds that extra element, I guess, for people like to be able to connect with stuff. It's like, I need to watch someone else connecting with this to know how I should connect, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's like being able to go to the comments section without having to go into the comments section.
Yeah, true.
It's right there on the video.
It's right there. It is.
Everybody's just taking their cues from Japanese like daytime television.
Audience live stream of a video. Like, I want to watch this and see other people watching it too.
Yeah,
it's really freaking weird. But I mean, yeah, dude, those are the best channels on YouTube. Are like those weird little like crafting or like education channels where it's like they just give you one unique insight or like at least one perspective on something. That's really cool.
I always think about like the old school movie producer being like, people like zombie movies, we need to get zombies. I need some boats, people like boat movies. And it's like I always think about like that stuff, like this is so like reductive. Like it doesn't matter how good a movie is. And like the more time I've spent like on YouTube, the more I've realized like those old film producers are right when they're like, oh, we need a boat movie. It's like, yeah, actually, if you do just like put a boat in your movie and it's a movie about a boat, it doesn't matter how good it is. There is a chunk of population that's like, I love boat movies.
Wait, really?
I mean, no, anything, any topic.
Boat, just okay, anything,
not just boats. I mean, don't get me wrong.
There hasn't been a good boat movie for years.
There is a chunk of population though.
I'm sure there is. Man. Yeah, boats are. You know what? Boats are very important.
This is actually these are recordings from the James Cameron conversations before Titanic came out. But but like I find that that's really true. Where it's like if you're starting a YouTube channel, you know, or starting anything, like if there's a community there, if you can truly tap into a community with like knowledge and like authenticity, like it'll grow no matter what, as long as you bring that authenticity and knowledge.
Yeah. Like the guy who co-produced, helped us with our line producing on the movie, his name's David Lynch. When we started out the film,
Wait.
I'm sorry, Michael David Lynch. Well, there's this thing.
Steven Spiel something.
He goes by Lynch, so like I literally always forget what his first name is, like because he has two first names. So it's like one of those things. Anyway, he's an example of like someone who was like, okay, I love playing Magic the Gathering. And he just started this channel like 3 years ago when we started production. And like, you know, we'd talk every once in a while and I'd give him some advice on like consistency and like, you know, here's like maybe with your thumbnail or here's how you start a video to get to the point. And it was like, he just did it. And he started making these campaigns with his friends and it freaking blew up. And now he's like one of the biggest Magic the Gathering channels on YouTube. And it's really cool to see a success story where it's like, this guy was like, hey, I have a vision. I have one like niche kind of community, like you were saying, and then I have like a unique spin on that isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that channel is still, I think, pretty successful. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
he doesn't need advice from me anymore. Let's just say that. So.
I mean, I feel like the biggest the biggest success I've seen from somebody who's at Corridor who's launched a channel is probably Danny Gonzalez.
Oh man, yeah.
Mhm.
I think he's working for like some company that's making Facebook videos, and then that company folded, and he joined us. And he was with us for like what was it, like 5 or 6 months or something like that. Maybe
it was like
more.
just shy of half a year because Clint joined on because he left.
Right.
Yep. And we made some really great videos. Like the I'm buying a tank video is one of my favorites. And then the PUBG mobile video as well.
Yeah.
Like, man, those are good videos.
Not Spider-Man.
World's longest lightsaber.
That's right.
Lightsaber? Yeah.
That's right.
That's some good ones.
Yeah. Man,
isn't that the most viewed video?
Yeah, it is our most viewed video. It's 170 million views.
I like the idea you had of world's smallest lightsaber.
World's smallest lightsaber.
It's so small, it's like cancerous. It just like kills you one cell at a time.
Yeah, we just
Yeah, no, it's crazy though because Danny he left us and became like actually a pretty big YouTuber, like doing really well for himself. We saw him at the Streamies last December. It was like Danny. Whoa.
Yeah, he's huge. He's bigger than Corridor, which is which is crazy. And it's cool to see, but like, I remember when he was like, "Hey, guys, I'm thinking about parting ways. I kind of want to focus on this YouTube channel." It's like the YouTube channel he's talking about is like getting more views than our channel. It's like, sounds good, Danny. You go do that. Make it happen.
Yeah, no, he has his format down, and again, you love to see that consistency.
Yeah,
there every time, and
remember how
really good ideas too.
When he joined us and he started doing skits with us initially, like our audience didn't like him at all. They thought he was like really mean. They thought he was like really aloof.
Well, okay, we did do this whole like
he was playing
style.
a character.
Yeah, he was doing.
But like the fact that like people didn't like, I don't know, people didn't like
he wanted to
cue
steal
into
the
it.
company. It was like the pre-Markiplier thing.
That's
Like, he
right.
was there and he wanted to disrupt, and we did this whole like fake little story, but we came on a bit thick with
people. Turned on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, maybe a learning lesson on our storytelling there. But
yeah.
I like to think that wasn't the reason he left, though.
No,
it wasn't.
He
left because he had a better opportunity. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's awesome that he has built that into such an amazing channel. So
yeah, it's just cool to see stuff pop up.
Totally.
There.
Oh,
yeah. I also remember Henry from, this isn't like us, he wasn't with us, but Henry from Minute Physics when he was way back in the day with Freddie and Brandon. And he's like, I just started doing these physics videos. Like it blows up to become like one of the like top science channels on YouTube.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was just hanging out with him in April at ThinkerCon this year. Last time I saw him was the previous ThinkerCon because he lives up in like Montana. He's kind of reclusive a little bit. Great guy. I loved hanging out with him. It was good to catch up with him.
He grew up from 15 minutes away from us in Stillwater.
That's crazy.
He was like we competed on ski teams.
Do you remember him from those times?
No, not at all. Yeah, I have no recollection of who he was. So, I mean, I probably never actually met him. We were just two.
Because he was the one who introduced me to Freddie and you guys. Technically in person, because he was working for Freddie at the time, and we've been chatting all summer over email because I was a big fan of his YouTube channel, and he didn't have many followers at all, just a couple thousand at the time. And then when I visited LA, he's like, "Hey, come check it out," and of course I wasn't going to turn that down.
I don't know if you remember, but do you remember when The Keep, the band that myself, Jake, Jimmy, and Sam were in when we played VidCon in the arena? Henry
I was there.
Actually joined us. That's right. Yeah,
I was in the crowd.
Fiddle.
It was one of the coolest. Like I remember at the time thinking, like, how the hell is this so cool? It was like he just whips out this fiddle, and you guys are going back and forth between like the Skyrim theme and what was the other song you were playing? It was like the Game of Thrones theme, I think. But like you'd mix between the two, and he was just like up on stage with his violin.
Yeah, he's a really good fiddle player.
I also remember Jimmy. Sorry. I also remember Jimmy going up to the crowd and being like, "Who wants to effing touch me?"
Yeah, Jimmy got like real hype on that. He even dropped the mic at the end.
Oh shit!
I'm sure the sound guy's just like this freaking kid. He plays his first rock show.
Expensive.
And thinks he's such a hot shot. It's like, damn straight.
He's like, who wants to touch me? As he goes up to like the front of the crowd, they're like, me.
Yeah. I have a recording on my phone when like we did a rehearsal in the hotel room before we went on stage. And we didn't have any instruments. So I'm like playing drums on the floor and Sam's playing an acoustic guitar and Jimmy's just like a cappella singing. Well, not a cappella because we had instruments. And Henry had his fiddle. And like he busts out the craziest solos. And it's just like us sitting in the hotel room and like we finished. We're like, damn, this is really good. You're really good, Henry. He's like, yeah. And then like hotel management's like, you have to stop playing music in here.
Stop.
And like, sorry, we're about to go on stage.
You're trying to sleep, sir.
Yeah.
You're banging on the floor and
and singing weird folk songs.
Yeah, playing the fiddle.
Yeah.
Come on. That's so funny, dude.
Yeah, because I met Henry when he was still attending USC for film school. After getting his, I think it was either his master's or his PhD in physics, theoretical physics. I think it was his master's. I'm not sure. But yeah, he was at film school at USC. And it was just after because I helped him out with a film shoot while I was in LA visiting before ever moving here. And I think he dropped out shortly after that to pursue just making YouTube videos full time. He quit working for Freddie in Brandon at the time.
Yep. And he went and did his collab with Stephen Hawking.
Oh, wait. Wow, yeah.
What?
Wait.
Henry worked with Stephen Hawking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, that one, I did not know that. A
Yeah.
film master.
Like,
I don't
I don't
recall
know if
that.
Stephen Hawking.
I don't know if it was like
Hawking
an
or
in-depth
Stephen-
collab. Yeah, the Mr.
Yeah.
You know, the smart one.
Yeah,
Mr. Hawking.
Smart guy. Yeah.
Not Stephen Hawking Lynch. Like,
Not Stephen Hawking. Yeah.
that's crazy.
I love that guy's work.
Yeah. That's cool.
Griffin,
You know?
that was the best callback. Thank you.
You know, I do wonder, like, let's say you were somebody who was passionate about making something, whether it was like music or videos or whatever, but you weren't an on-camera person. You weren't necessarily like cut out for like being on camera. Like, what advice would you have to somebody like that if they were trying to get into making media in this day and age? Especially if they're trying to do their own channel.
It depends what kind of content they're making. You know, it's like these days you can just write a script and have a robot read it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many ways to present your videos and ideas now. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't even have to record voiceover, like Wren just said. Like, you could have an AI or just hire someone who does this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of channels do that. Like, I watch a lot of history channels, and like most of them, you know, the main team is writers, and then they send it off to the VO artist, and you know, they do. It's like a whole production they got,
Mm-hmm.
and like they're legit VO artists on all these history channels because you know they're just sending off the scripts, and then they have graphics people. So there's ways to break it down. It's not like the main guy running the channel is the one in front of the camera.
Well, I have a crazy story about this. So at ThinkerCon, I was hanging out with a small group of YouTubers. Like, I don't want to name drop, but they were like big time educational YouTubers. And it was just kind of cool being in the circle with them. And then like the guy across from me, his name is Philip. I had never met him before. Thick German accent, very nice guy. And I was like, what's your channel? He's like, Kirschzat.
Nice,
And I was like, what? I had no idea because they hire a voice actor to narrate all of their videos, and they have a whole. It's nothing but illustrations. So he is the owner of the channel. Like he started the channel. He was the sole worker on it for years, but he never did any of the voice acting. So he was like purely anonymous, which I found to be like really fascinating because that's very rare in YouTube these days, where you have someone behind the scenes who literally no one knows what they look like. You have like, there's like a few of them. There's like Dream. I guess he had a face reveal at some point, but there's not many others.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's really cool, actually. Kind of weird too, because you're like, who's actually like behind this channel? But I don't know. There's an air of mystery.
From talking with him, I started recognizing his writing style just through our conversations. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, we sat on a bus for half an hour going to like a baseball game. And we sat and we just had an awesome conversation just talking about stuff. Because he's also a fan of Corridor. And so we were able to connect really easily and just talking about life, talking about making YouTube videos. He got his start basically just brute forcing all these YouTube videos in his free time, which wasn't much while working full time. And then eventually, I think after a year or two, he was doing all this. And these days he still does a lot of the artwork for the videos. Like he kind of does like the main illustrative sort of design and composition, but he has a whole team of animators that goes through and actually animates all the stuff, drops in text, moves stuff off screen to go along with the script. But he has I think he has a small team of writers and editors that they work on all that. But yeah, it's a fascinating example. You don't have to be on camera at all to have a very successful YouTube channel. That's that point.
Yeah. That was a very grounded response to my question.
You can
you had real world examples backing it up and everything.
You can do like the Amazon drop shipping equivalent of being a YouTuber, where you literally just automate the process and you write the ideas, or not even and just, I mean, as long as you're paying for these people to do their jobs, it's like, I mean, but
well, yeah, like
who has that kind of money and connections, you know?
Well,
that's why you got to like put in the work first, and then you can do it.
Exactly. I do agree with that. These days, though, it's like, or anymore, I should say, you can. I always get frustrated when I see videos popping up talking about how to make content farms. And it's like, I get what they're basically just like, oh, you sign up for this, whatever this chat GPT style thing is. It writes out a bunch of script ideas, writes out your script, automates and gets your voice narrated out, automates generating a bunch of background pictures and videos, automatically edits it all together to the narration of your video and automatically exports that to a YouTube video that it also automatically uploads. It's like, I don't see how
people understand, like, why do people think there's value in that? It's like, this
I
AI will automatically make social media posts for your business to all these social media channels. It's like, do you think people read that? Do you think you are doing anything productive?
I'm afraid they do. I'm afraid people would watch that stuff because you don't know from the source. Like, you click on a nice, interesting thumbnail or whatever, and you're listening to a realistic, charismatic voice. They're getting pretty good these days, and maybe it's a little while in, you're like, wait a minute, the writing is a little sus here. It seems a little weirdly written.
Already made their ad rev.
I feel like I see this more often on like Instagram or like Reels type scrolling, right? Rather than YouTube, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, doesn't matter. YouTube Shorts as well, but I feel like YouTube Shorts and all those other platforms are the same thing, whereas YouTube is its own thing. It's completely separate.
Yeah,
even though it's obviously technically the same.
I wonder how the Shorts move is going to work out for YouTube. I feel like they went like, you know what people like? Really cheap content that doesn't keep you coming back to any specific channel or platform. It's like, oh boy. I don't know.
I mean, they're like, hey, look at these other guys doing this thing. Let's shed our whole identity and then try to do that also. So we can be the one doing it instead of them.
I mean, I've used YouTube Shorts quite a bit at this point, like especially the last like couple months or so. I've begun like consuming it more. I'll just let me fun. Next thing I know, I've just been like scrolling through post after post after post for half an hour. I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah.
That's why I tried to stop using TikTok.
I know I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That whole like, just turn off your brain and don't watch anything, but don't do anything either. You know?
Yeah.
It's the dopamine slot machine, man.
Dopamine slot machine.
Gosh, man.
I do wonder, like, as we progress, as the stuff that's new and edgy becomes old and boring, like, is like, for example, like life vlogging where people just go out and do crazy things. Like, is that still a thing that gets views these days? Or is that like a genre that's dead?
I feel like travel vloggers are very much alive. I watch a lot of it.
Travel vlogging is alive. I'm talking more about like, I filled up my house with 1,000 water balloons or like that kind of thing.
Dude,
I think it's very difficult to break into that now. Yeah. I think that's the case, which means that anyone who's already there and established can continue to do that. I don't know if their views are stagnating or not, but
yeah,
I am happy to see more, like, to see people continue to make like just really weird, like low budget content where it's just like them with a camcorder and like they found a weird guy, so they're just like recording what he said. Like, that's the stuff I always loved about YouTube when I was younger, and like I kind of hope that kind of stuff has a renaissance where like there's just more like rawness and weirdness and like
more realness.
Yeah.
I do feel like that's where the pendulum's swinging a little bit, at least for a bunch of audiences. Like, I mean, that's why everybody's always marketing movies now. It's like, there's no CGI. It's like people want that realness now in like a world where everything's so easy to generate. And it's also
Niko said a bad word. CGI.
CGI. Yeah. But people also want the fantasy and escapism too. I think it all just depends on what you're searching for.
I think they just want that. They want the fakeness with the realness.
Mm-hmm.
They want the fakeness surrounded by the realness, so you don't know it's fakeness. Because come on, doesn't it? You can show me Flash's past without the Polar Express. Like, it doesn't have to be that way, you know?
Yeah.
They just want like super high level suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. I mean, that's all any of us want, without having to go like too far into like, but really look at how awesome this is. That's how real it is. It's like visual effects are trending into like, let's just show more to really dig in how real and cool this is. And it's like, it's having the opposite effect on people, I think. Like if you see like 3 really good VFX shots, like old ILM 90s shots or whatever, you know, like those amazing shots where everything's crafted, those tell so much more for your story and getting the audience invested than, you know, just seeing a whole fleet of spaceships with the blue and the purple energy beams and explosions and the whole guess what, there's a team of the guys that have the suits now and they're blowing shit up. Like, it's like cool, great.
Yeah,
I get it. Thank you. That's my superhero rant for the podcast. if you're on the bingo card, you can check that one off. I'll see you next week for my superhero rant.
We're all patiently waiting for Grandpa Nick to finish his superhero rant.
Yeah.
When I was your age, superheroes had names.
They had names. They did. They had leotards.
When I was your age, superheroes wore their underwear on the outside.
Yeah,
and they were happy with it.
Dude, they were so happy with it. It was a better time.
Yeah.
If I have to see one more goddamn blue energy explosion again, I'm gonna lose my shit. I swear to God, I'm so tired of it, dude.
Yeah, man. Honestly,
get the energy explosions out of here.
I'm so tired of that glow. Ugh. Everything has the same glow these days. So it's like everyone just uses the same glow filter, and it's all
It's like the new like lens flare, you know, or like haze. Like it's just another compositing piece of bull crap.
Yeah,
it doesn't look as good either.
Yeah.
Tell me how you really feel.
We had to wrap up that superhero. Right?
I just I'm done. Positive vibes only.
Positive vibes only.
From now on.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like, you know, we're constantly on this, like, what, you know, I guess we would call it a treadmill of, you know, content creation. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of moments where we pause and we make a piece about something that's either happened in our lives or it's happening around us in our lives. And like those things, when we stop to talk about that stuff, is when I feel like we end up making stuff that's unique and it doesn't feel like disposable content. It feels like something that's like, oh, here's an important thing, or this thing like really connects and like you feel something with it. And I do feel like there's like that avenue also for people, like in a world where it feels like everything is done and every story has been told and every genre is filled. It's like, instead of looking to the past, just look at right now and like, what's the most current thing that's happening that people haven't made art about, that people haven't like digested as a society, and you can help people digest it with your digesting enzymes known as art. You know,
that's why I'm very excited for the future of like immersive content, like 3D video and whatnot, especially with like the Apple headset coming out next year. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to get it, but I'm very excited for that coming out and ushering in whatever future tech comes. Like the new iPhones that just got announced literally this morning have are going to be able to shoot immersive video on it. So basically 3D video somehow using the depth sensor. So I'm hoping the depth sensor has been upgraded, which would mean a higher resolution LiDAR. I haven't actually read anything about the new phone today. So this is speculation, but I'm hoping it's true, because if it's a higher resolution LiDAR scanner, that means 3D photo scans using our phone will be better too.
Awesome.
Dang. Man, I'm still running my iPhone 12.
Really? Dude, nice. Niko, it's time to upgrade. They have USB-C now.
To you, man.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now.
that might actually make me do it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I'm down to get away from lightning, man.
I was on an
cannot
11
wait.
up until like a couple months ago, dude. And it finally bricked on me, so I had to upgrade.
Did it?
But
Dang.
yeah, the USB-C is nice.
When I
Nice.
I used to do every 2 years because I feel like phones were advancing really fast, and I got the iPhone X, and I kept that one for 4 years, and upgraded that to the 12, mainly just to get the wide angle.
Dude,
That wide
it
angle lens is a game
it's worth
changer.
it. It's worth it.
But the 12 is such a superior phone to the X. But like, they're so good now. The phones are so good. It's like I don't need to upgrade. I probably shouldn't, but like,
Yeah.
oh boy,
I feel the exact opposite. I've upgraded
camera.
every year for the last like 3 years. I think it's the first because I was also on the every other year plan, and now with the I don't know. I feel like the video capabilities and the software capabilities of the phones for what I do with 3D scanning and all that stuff advances so much every year that I'm like I have to upgrade. It's very easy to justify for my job.
And yet you sit here and say you're not going to buy the Apple AR kit. We all know you are.
I mean, it's just as vital to my
that's
job
almost too
Ren.
expensive. It's the Apple
What's
headset
the
is like
price?
starting $3,500, and it's like okay, that's pretty expensive. I'm not going to drop money on that just yet, despite really wanting one, and I can easily justify getting it if I really needed it, but I don't know yet, so I'm going
But
to wait.
there's not gonna be anything to do with it too. That's the other thing. It's like oh, I agree. Like I'm also in the, like oh, it's so cool camp, but like the reality is it's like buying the Xbox on launch. Like I guess maybe there's like a Halo, but that's about it.
Yeah. Griffin just quantified it in a way that makes it more palatable to me personally.
That is 1,000 McChickens, Wren.
Yeah, think of all that food that you could eat in your lifetime.
A McChicken is $3.50.
Dude,
Something
Griffin,
like
you
that.
just ruined Apple's whole career,
Yeah.
dude. Like that launch is going to be a total failure after word gets out.
I was thinking that's a couple OneWheels.
On the wisdom of how you measure the value of something, which McChickens is a great like
It
measurement
is,
value.
Yeah.
Harley was telling me a story also about like first class tickets. Like okay, so you go buy a ticket for a flight from like Canada to America. It's a couple $100. Upgrade to first class for $800 or something like that. It's like it's always like this really steep number. Like man, no thanks. And like Harley's found himself like he's like because he's kind of a big guy. He's like should I do it this time? Should I do this time? Then he's like and he pauses and he goes, all right, the flight is like a 3 to 4. It's a 4-hour flight, right? If somebody was like, hey Harley, can you sit in that chair for 4 hours? I'll give you $800. Like, then you can take your phone, you can take your Switch, you can take your Steam Deck. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is sit. Yeah, we'll bring you pop. We'll bring you some chips. You have to sit in that chair for 4 hours, just for 4 hours, and we'll give you $800. He's like, I would totally do that. And it's like, and when it comes to first class, it's like instead, like it's like you sit in the coach and you save $800 sitting in that chair for 4 hours, and then you're like, I don't know, maybe it's worth upgrading to first class. But the moment somebody contextualizes it, is like, yeah, if you just sit in like a coach chair, I'll give you $800.
Yeah.
And sit there for 4 hours. Like, yeah, I'll do that.
Turning
All right.
not spending into being given. Yeah, it's essentially.
Yep.
Yeah, first class. I only flew first class one time when we were a kid. And our flights got canceled, so they let us. And I was like a tiny little kid, so I was like, "This is awesome." It was like.
I rarely fly first class. I recently did flying back from North Carolina the morning after breaking my collarbone. I can't remember if I told this story or not, but I was basically like, I used my points to buy a ticket back, and I went ahead and upgraded it. So I did it all through points. Fortunately, I upgraded my flight to first class because I was like, all right, this is a 5-hour flight from North Carolina, and I haven't even seen a doctor yet, but my shoulder hurts, and so I got the first class. That's how I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that, and then I'll see my doctor in LA.
Did they take the X-ray on the plane? Like, what kind of perks did you get?
I mean, it was,
doctor on plane?
I did get escorted closer to the front of the line because I had a cart which had my bags in it, and I had more bags than I should carry with a broken collarbone. And so once I had to get rid of the cart to stand in line, one of the gate guard ladies was like, "Oh hell no!" And she lifted the thing and like had me run up to the front of the line with the cart.
Wow.
I was like, "This is great." But no, the best perk was that my first class tickets came with Rhett and Link.
Oh really?
Whoa.
Oh, what do you mean?
No, like I sat next to Rhett and Link on the airplane.
That is really.
It blew my mind.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. We had an awesome
Wait,
conversation
you're flying
too.
out of where?
North Carolina, like Raleigh, North Carolina. The crazy part is that I had just flown out to Raleigh like 2 days earlier. I went to a OneWheel racing event and I left early. But on the flight out there, I was also on the plane with Rhett and Link. But I didn't introduce myself to them. I didn't. They were being heckled by people at the airport. They're very famous, and so I didn't want to bother them or anything. But I walked past them. They were sitting in first class. I was like, oh man, if I ever fly first class again, wouldn't that be crazy if I sit next to them? And then it like literally happened. I sat down. I was one of the first people to sit down on the airplane, and so I'm getting comfy, and then. Sure enough, Rhett and Link sit down. They were across the aisle. Technically, I was on the right window seat and they had the other side of the aisle. And eventually another dude sat down between us. So our conversation was cut short. But we talked for like 10 or so minutes. That's how I know that they both enjoy one-wheeling. And they actually talked about meeting me on that airplane on one of their podcasts like a month or so ago.
I hope somebody posts this in their Red and Link subreddit or whatever. Yeah. Like, hey, Corridor talks about Red and Link in their podcast.
Talked about them, talking about us on the podcast.
Yeah, just
and then they can talk about us talking about them in their podcast.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. It's
how many layers can we go?
You see them online, and I mean, we're all familiar with this. We've all met a lot of YouTubers, but they were very nice. They were cool. We talked about injuries because I had just broken my collarbone. Link had also just broken his collarbone, I think unrelatedly. So we traded stories about injuries. That was where a lot of my one-wheeling conversations with people tends to migrate towards injuries these days, which is unfortunate, but it's cool.
You know, Sam and I have been on their podcast.
That's so crazy. Yeah. I remember we were at the freaking Streamies last December and we sat right next to Rhett and Link's table.
Yeah.
And I was sitting literally like a couple feet from Link. And I remember him leaning over, tapping Christian's shoulder and pointing at you, Niko, and being like, hey, I know that guy.
Well, they're just like, you know, they're old OG YouTubers. Sorry, guys. They're old OG YouTubers. Sorry.
They're definitely
so am I. All right. Look, you know, from the mouth of babes, right? But, yeah, you know, it's like they've been around since the beginning. And it's just like, there's a couple that have been, and it's just cool to see each other at, you know, another Streamies, another year, another step down the road. And it's like, all right, you guys are still doing it.
Still hanging.
They're always very easy to see at the Streamies because they're taller than everyone.
So tall.
Right.
Yeah. Especially with his hair going on. Like, it's like a whole thing.
Are Red and Link our generation's Penn and Teller?
They are definitely the best duo to capitalize on an ampersand between their names.
Yeah.
They're like iconic ampersand buds for sure.
Sam ampersand Niko channel.
I'm trying to think of, Sam and Niko channel. Yeah. I guess, you know what? I guess you guys were there too. The Salmon Eagle channel.
Yeah, the Salmon Eagle channel. Yep.
I love that you have to pronounce the L with it. Otherwise, it sounds too much like the original name.
Salmon Eagle. Yeah.
Salmon Eagle.
It is crazy that you just said, like, I was thinking today about like how big and yet small the world is. You know, just like in Los Angeles, you'll run into your friends on the street. You know, you'll run to people you know, or like literally at the airport or on a plane.
Yeah.
In another spot of the country, you'll run into somebody. Or like when Ivy and I were doing our honeymoon in France, we did a wine chateau tour. And then like fancy. 4 days later, we were in a different part of the country at a market. And the person standing in front of us in line to buy some food was our tour guide from the castle tour 5 days ago on the other side of France. And it's like, hi, what are you doing here?
So weird.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Wow.
Like the world really is a small place. It's not as big as we think. But at the same time, you'll watch a movie and like the whole universe like will exist, but like the 6 main characters somehow run into each other all the time.
Yeah.
Kind of realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, like playing Zelda and like you're constantly talking to the king and queen. It's like, do they ever do anything else in this kingdom? Like, are there any citizens in this kingdom, or is it just the king and queen living in this entire kingdom? Do they have any day business, or is it just standing around talking to, you know, Princess Zelda?
I like that Skyrim
Who was it that described?
It's like my whole kingdom, and there's like 4 peasants like, mulling about, and like 2 guards. Yeah. It's like, you've saved the realm.
We didn't Sam describe like Breath of the Wild: Tears of the Kingdom as basically being society run by toddlers?
That was me.
That was you?
Yeah,
It's basically. I mean, but it's right though. It's like everything's just very simplified.
Yeah, everything's been nerfed. Like everybody's like intelligence, their maturity, their like the danger they're in. It's all been nerfed across the board. Everybody's like at about like the level like of like a 5 or 6 year old. Like they're really into their stuff and they really want to be friends and they want to do nice things, which is great. But yeah, I mean that's classic Nintendo, I guess. At the end of the day,
yeah,
it's definitely wholesome.
Oh, dude, I finally beat Tears of the Kingdom. By the way, I fought Ganon, and it was
I haven't
incredible.
Done it yet.
It was
so
you got to do
talk about it anymore on this podcast. Thank you very much. No spoilers. I'm going to get there.
I'm not saying anymore. I'm just saying it was so much better than Breath of the Wild. Like as a final sequence of events, it was. And then the last event it just blew my mind. It was because I had been putting it off because I don't like how Nintendo does that thing where it's like you're not able to exist in a post-Ganon world. So it's like you beat the game, but then you have to just reload the game right before you jump into the pit. And it's like it feels very unrewarding to walk away from that, knowing you've already beaten it. But like in game, in this universe, you're like, no. And like turning away from the final boss. It does give you an asterisk on your save file, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. The Ganondorf fight in the first Breath of the Wild was a little underwhelming.
It was. This one is not. Tears of the Kingdom is not. Jan and I both fought Ganon or did the Ganon sequence at the same time while waiting in line to get out of Burning Man. Because we sat within like this 4-mile stretch of road for like 8 hours to get out. We got in line at like 8. We didn't get out until 8 p.m. Sorry, noon. Then didn't get out until 8 p.m.
Yeah.
We played a lot of Zelda.
I was making really good progress towards, like, I'm close to the end. I'm probably, like, maybe 2 or 3 hours away from doing the Ganondorf battle. And, like, I was making really good progress. And I was on top of, like, this one sky island. And Milo, my daughter, who was watching me play, is like, can you go over there? And there's just, like, a little island out in the ocean. I'm like, I probably could. She's like, you should do it. I'm like, all right. And just jump off the island. And then, you know, I'm like 8 hours into that little island adventure, by the way. It's been a whole journey and it's really sidelined my
Wait, is that island down in the bottom right of the map?
Yeah, there's like the Pirate's Cove and there's a secret cave and there's like
I've done that,
underneath. Yeah, so it's been a good time, but it really derailed my progress.
It's right there.
Thanks, Milo.
Yeah.
I'll never forget us playing on your work switch, because you have 2 switches now. We're playing Smash upstairs, and all of a sudden it goes to the main screen being like 2 accounts are playing this game right now, and you're like, uh-oh, I think Milo just turned on my Switch at home. And we're all just like on a break going, oh.
Yeah. None of us could play. And Ivy said that it was actually Calvin had pulled it out, and she said that like it was like a minute later he had put it back and they turned it off. So if we would have stuck around for like a few more seconds, it would have worked for us.
That's how it goes, though.
Oh well. Yeah. You know, it's almost Smash season again.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wren, who's your favorite to win this year?
Me.
You can't say that.
Honestly, I think Griffin.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
No, of course I'm not. I'm never sure.
I'll tell you, I appreciate the vote of confidence, though. That means a lot.
I don't.
I'm gonna beat you pretty bad.
How about you, Griffin? Who would you favor this year?
Well, it's not my favorite, but I don't like it, but I feel like Jordan Allen has a pretty good chance again.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if he becomes the first time to win it twice, I'll be so mad. I mean, honestly, I'll be mad if anyone wins it twice before me.
Yeah, I might agree with you, especially if he plays Samus. But
yeah.
Oh, he's gonna play Samus, and he's gonna play super, super careful.
Yeah. Oh, you can't waffle out like that. You gotta give me a prediction, Christian. Just throw a name out there.
Does Christian have a mic?
Dean. No, he doesn't. But I'm just gonna interpret for him.
Dean.
He says Dean. How about you, Nick? You don't have anything invested in this whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Sam.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no, said Matt. No, it could be Matt's year.
Wait, this is Matt's year. Yeah.
This is Matt's year.
No, you know what? Matt.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's gonna be
Yeah,
messier.
I'll root for Matt. I'll root for Matt.
Yeah.
The thing about Dean, I recognize there's a bunch of similarities between Dean and some of the top one-wheel racers, where it's like they're the favorite to win and they never do.
That's why Matt.
Technically, Dean has won. He won in the early days of us playing when he first joined up, but he hasn't won since.
I'm Team Matt. I'm Team Matt all the way from now on.
All right, Nick's rooting for Matt.
Matt
I like this.
Stan.
Everybody listening to this podcast is like, "Oh my god, they're talking about Smash Brothers again." But listen,
Man.
guys, we have put a lot of time into Smash Brothers. It's
Some of
like
us.
perhaps making videos is our first mission here at Corridor, and Smash Brothers is our second.
Oh, you want to hear a cool engineering project idea I have?
Yeah.
It has to do with Smash Bros. And Burning Man. So apologies for continuing to talk about Burning Man.
Everybody's out now. Nobody's listening to the podcast anymore.
But it's an art car situation where you can play Smash. It's two different cars. One which has a giant flatbed truck that has a giant projector screen on it that swivels around an axis so it can turn. And there's another car that's just a giant sofa. It's just a giant couch enough to sit like a couple, like a dozen people, like a lounge car. And they're both driving down like through the desert or whatever, just randomly. You have the switch and all the controllers on the couch with a wireless video link to the projector screen on the truck, but they're always turning. So it doesn't matter where the cars are driving, they will always be pointed at each other.
Drivers have to just keep them perfectly.
Dude,
No, because they both rotate. The couch rotates and the screen rotates.
I
So
see.
depending on where they are, they'll
That's
always
so
be
funny.
pointed at each other. So you could just be
Yes.
riding through the
Wren.
playa and just like be playing Smash, jump up on a couch, play Smash.
I love
Like-
this idea because
Amazing.
I get the feeling that like 5 years from now, like Burning Man 2028, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be like 3 days into like a desert walk. I'm gonna be like slowly losing my sense of identity and my sanity. I'm gonna be like, "Ugh." And then like I'm just gonna see people play. I'm just gonna hear the Smash theme, and then you're gonna be there and you're gonna be like, "Hey, you wanna play a quick 3?" And I'll be like,
fun.
No, you'll just hear this across the playa. Just be like, you'll hear a clap, a thunderclap.
head whip. I'm like 7 hours into like a meditation. There's
Gotta
I was
go.
like, guys, I'll be back.
Gotta smash.
Yeah, I'll be back in 20 minutes. Yeah. Sick.
that's sweet, dude.
All right.
So that's my idea for like
Okay.
an art car. I think that'd be really cool
That's
to
a
do,
great
but
idea.
Yeah.
don't know who the hell's going to pay for that. Not me.
I think that delightful imagery is what we can
Let's get a brand deal.
resolve this
Yeah.
this podcast with.
I love
So
that.
yeah, it's reaching that time, guys. The witching hour here at Corridor.
The
So,
witching hour.
Yeah,
The
this is
witching-
a fun, like
Yeah.
casual
Which one is
podcast.
So
that?
casual.
06.
To end this podcast, I don't want to talk too much about this, but Niko, Nick, the Floatwheel.
Yes. So
I don't
this
want
is
to
what
talk
people have
about it
to look
much. I don't want to talk about it much just yet, at least. But I
Yes,
did
so-
finally get my Floatwheel working today.
Yes, I can't wait, Wren. Let's go riding. Maybe not tonight, but maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm sure once again this is gonna be a niche audience thing, but we did do our Vesk podcast like a year ago, and now we can follow it up with a Floatwheel podcast. I've got over 100 miles on my board. I've been
Did over
trying
100
to-
miles in less than a week.
Yeah, it was great. I love it. I've been trying to convert everybody in the office to get one. Nick fell
Nick
victim to my
included.
Yeah.
my
No,
prying.
I got a new little loot drop on the way from China, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I did it.
Yep.
Well, I was like, look, like my XR, I've been riding it for like 4 or more years now.
Or you've already
Yeah.
6 years.
God,
Yeah, you've had that XR a long time.
I've one-wheeled that long. It's been a long time. That thing is like, it's done me good.
Yeah.
And now, I've been thinking about a GT for a while, but then I tried Niko's the other night at Verdugo.
The
and,
Floatwheel?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was just like another level from the GT.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Especially going up a
and
hill.
It's cheaper too. It's cheaper. And I'm going to be able to customize it for like ever and like have full ability to, keep adding and changing up parts and stuff. So, I mean,
Parts you get from China.
I'm not sponsored.
It'll take a while to get
but
the
that's
parts.
why you got to switch them out, Yeah, like, hey, you know what?
Yeah, but to be fair, like, you can use any tire. Once again, it's back to a 6-inch hub
Yes.
instead of a proprietary 6.5-inch hub. So now you can use
Ooh.
any tire again.
I
And
bought
Wren
a
even-
7-inch tire.
There you go. Look
Whoa,
at that.
okay.
A 7-inch tire, which
It
is
just
probably gonna be
barely fits.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the idea and the
how
benefit
does
of a larger tire is that it goes over more stuff and there's more sidewall, so it has like a lot more cushion to it. So it should feel a little less like shocky. It should absorb more impact, and I'm hoping it has like a nicer like feel to it. I don't know. I'm getting the tire just because I really want to try the big tire gang. So I'm gonna try putting that on, but I haven't even ridden the Floatwheel yet. I just got it all like tuned and balanced, which was the whole thing. I had to do the IMU calibration 5 times.
Oh wow!
But then you got it figured out.
To look forward to.
So.
Yeah, I've never built a OneWheel before, so
you'll have a great
can't
time.
wait. Yeah,
it's actually it's really
awesome.
fun. It makes you feel like you're like really cool and getting into some cool stuff.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah, I mean, building a OneWheel on the floor while there's AI stuff processing. In the background is like one of the most like 2023 things you can do. So I'm there for it.
Building a OneWheel you bought using crypto.
Yeah, right.
I will say for anybody listening who's got a OneWheel or is thinking about getting a Floatwheel or upgrading to a GT or anything, like the Floatwheel has been a delight. It is like riding a missile. I think it's a 6 horsepower machine. The GT is a 3 horsepower machine. Like doing 20 miles an hour going up a hill and like the board has headroom still is a very strange feeling, one I've never felt before. Like the board has, I mean, I never like, I want to say like it rekindled my love for like riding OneWheels because like, it's not like that love like went out. Yeah. Like I still really liked doing it, but I'll just say that when I got the Floatwheel, I'm riding every night. I'm out every night doing at least like 3 or 4 miles. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's giving you a new lot on OneWheel life, basically. Yes.
Exactly.
Rekindled the flame in. No, that's awesome. I can't wait, man. Would you recommend it for beginners, or do you think it's more of an?
I do feel like anybody if you want to get a wheel for the very first time, I'd recommend getting a future motion wheel. Like go with like a pint X.
It's definitely safer.
A used XR.
I would say a used XR over a pint. I'm not a big fan of like that smaller platform.
Yeah.
A used XR on honestly, I think is like one of the best deals you can get these days. Even a used GT.
Yeah. Either one is like
the GT is still a great OneWheel. It's still a great OneWheel.
Yeah. Be ready to sell it in a year and buy a Floatwheel. I will say that. But OneWheels really hold their value.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can probably buy your XR and sell your XR for like within $100 the price you buy it for.
They're hopefully releasing custom shaping soon, which will have some VESC features like turn tilt or they call them different things, but a few things like that are being incorporated into the GT now, which I think is very good.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, at least the thing I'm really excited about with the Floatwheel is that like if a module breaks or it dies or gets upgraded, like I can just buy another brain. I can buy another battery box. I can buy different rails. I can swap things out. I can buy a new motor. I could buy a motor for each tire if I wanted to, so that if I want to swap a tire, I just unplug one motor and plug another one in and then keep riding. There's so many ways you can approach it. And you can do this with VESC as well, of course. But it helps to have something out there that kind of standardizes stuff just a little bit. Like the XR is kind of like that. And now we have at least something else comparable with like the Floatwheel. Because my VESC has been dead for a while because I have to like open it up and do some wiring.
Which is sitting in my closet.
Yeah, it's in Wren's house right now.
Okay.
He has some skeletons in his closet, specifically skeletons of my OneWheels. But like, just taking the, 4 to 5 to 6 hours to deal with that, part of it you have to order the parts ahead of time. Like I just haven't done it. Versus just having the Floatwheel show up, I assemble it and I ride it. It's really great. If something breaks, swap the part out. Yeah. Done. Get back on it. Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. We'll talk about it more in another podcast once Wren's ridden his a bunch.
Once I get some experience and have some thoughts. Yeah.
And Griffin, there's going to be a lot of extra boards floating around now that we all have new ones. So when you decide,
I might take you up on that, but I decided in 2019 that maybe one-wheeling isn't for me because I think third time I set foot on one, I crashed it directly into Clint's Puget. And I was like, maybe this isn't for me, dude.
Wait, his Pokemon or
what?
His Pokemon?
His No, he crashed it into his Pokemon.
Right into Jigglypuff was not.
No, he crashed it into his Puget.
Oh, his computer. Right. I was thinking like car. I was like, he doesn't have that as a car.
It's Pokemon.
It's Pokemon.
Oh, dude.
I decided that OneWheel wasn't for me when I tried it in 2019 and crashed into Clint's Pokemon. Yeah, I'm right there with you,
Pokemon
Griff.
Go was huge back
I
then.
almost hit his Pokemon too, but then I didn't, and I decided it was for me at that point.
Yeah. That's how I knew. That moment.
Well, we have plenty of extras if you ever want to learn. I'll let you borrow one.
Yeah, and look, Clint's not here anymore, and he don't got no Pokemons here. So
Yeah, we got rid of
if you tried it
Pokemon.
now, you
Open
might get a
season,
little.
baby.
Yeah,
Also,
you
let me
might-
take this opportunity to pressure Christian again. Hey, Christian, you should get a Floatwheel. They're great.
Yeah,
Get some crypto. Buy some USDC, baby.
sell
Yeah.
your XR, turn that into crypto. Oh yeah,
That's true. You
It's
always
good to
need a
have
buddy
one.
board. All right, I do actually have to go. I have to get home and make dinner with the fam.
dinner, family. Oh,
It was
Life.
thanks for hanging with us, all your
Yeah,
podcast
guys.
listeners.
that was a fun, very casual. Just
Ren,
podcast.
Griff, Nick. It was
Yeah.
a delight.
yeah, dude.
I'm gonna ride my
Cardboard Ren,
float wheel to my
thank you.
car. Float right on over.
Man,
I will. Okay, pros. Lots of pros on the float wheel. The only cons, it's heavy.
Heavy.
And then because the tire, and the heaviness isn't the worst. It's really not all that bad, but it is heavy. The tire is also very wide and square, meaning that if you're on something that's kind of like slanted to the side, the board has a tendency to want to roll or be tippy, as people might describe it. I have since dropped the board one notch down, so the board is actually a little bit lower. One of the other perks about it being a float wheel. And it is much more stable. But once I swap into a new tire that's more rounded, it should completely solve the
hell
issue.
yeah.
It does, however,
Sick.
rip on streets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, and new lifetime record of 25.9 miles an hour. Okay, bye-bye.
else?
Thanks for
Anyway.
listening, everybody.
All right, guys, have a good one.
See you
next
later.
week.
And 3, 2, 1.